I've always been the person who thinks in columns. Mortgage, utilities, 401k, the kids' braces, everything had a box and a date. I didn't buy things on impulse. I didn't float bills. That was my pride. And it was also how I kept fear at arm's length. My mom died when I was 27. She slid on black ice and hit a guardrail. The phone call was short. The rest was paperwork and casseroles and my dad staring at the wall like he'd been unplugged. I handled the forms. I told myself being steady was love. A month after the funeral, I found a cassette in a padded mailer with my name on it. Her handwriting. For when you're ready. I didn't have a player. I put it in a fireproof box with deeds and birth certificates. Every few years I'd see it and feel my throat tighten, then close the lid. This winter my dad called and said he'd found a safety deposit key among Mom's things. Fees piled up, he said. We should clean it out. His voice was too casual. Money does that to people, makes them pretend it's just logistics. That night I ordered an old cassette player online, $40. I told my wife, Kara, it was nostalgia. I didn't mention the key. Part 2. I listened to the tape alone at the kitchen table with the lights dimmed. The player smelled like dust and plastic. When I pressed play, there was hiss, then my mom's voice so close it made my skin prickle. Hi, honey, she said. If you're hearing this, you're old enough to understand what I couldn't say out loud. A pause. I heard the faint thump of something being set down, laundry, maybe. This is about money. My mouth went dry. Your dad is a good man, she said, careful, like she was placing glass on a counter. But he isn't safe with money. He takes risks. He gets convinced. She exhaled through her nose. I opened a separate place to put cash. Small amounts. Grocery change. Holiday money. It adds up. I actually shook my head, like that could erase it. My dad was the one who preached bills first. My dad fixed things. He didn't gamble. I didn't tell him, she continued. If he knows there's extra, it disappears. He'll have a reason. He'll sound loving. And then it's gone. My stomach dropped, slow and heavy. I pressed my palm against the table, grounding myself. There's a box at First Federal, she said. The key is with the papers. The contents are meant for you, not him. Use it for your life, for stability. Don't let anyone talk you into helping with it. She went quiet, then softer. I'm sorry. I love you. The tape clicked off. The house felt too quiet after her voice disappeared. Part 3. The bank's vault smelled metallic and dry, like old coins. My dad met me there, holding the key like it weighed him down. He looked smaller than I remembered, shoulders sloped, eyes restless. We signed forms. A manager walked us back, slid a box onto the counter, and left. Dad unlocked it fast, like he'd rehearsed. Inside were envelopes, folded papers, and a cloth pouch. He opened the first envelope and drew out neat stacks of bills. His throat bobbed. Jesus, he whispered. He counted with his lips moving, then stared at the number like it accused him. There was more. 3 envelopes. Then the pouch, coins, and a few old savings bonds. The total was just under $40,000. Not a little cushion. A year of my salary after taxes. Dad's eyes shined in a way I didn't like. We could have used this, he said. All those years. I unfolded the papers with fingers that felt clumsy. They designated me as beneficiary. Clear language. Mom had planned this. My dad's jaw tightened. So I don't get a say, he said, voice flat. On the drive home, he followed me too close, like tailgating would make the money spill out. In my driveway, he finally said, I've got some debts. Nothing crazy. But if you could spot me. I felt Mom's warning like a hand on my throat. Still, shame surfaced first. I'll think about it, I said. I didn't tell Kara that night. I put the cash in our fireproof box and told myself I needed time to be responsible. It was really denial dressed up as prudence. Part 4. 2 days later, Dad called. Just $5,000, he said. I'm trying to get ahead of something. He sounded embarrassed, which made my chest tighten. I pictured him alone in his kitchen, bills spread out, and my old instinct to fix things kicked in. I wrote him a cashier's check and met him at a diner. He took the envelope without looking at me. No thank you, just a quick nod and the smallest smile of relief. It wasn't relief, though. It was appetite. I didn't understand that until later. That night, guilt crawled under my skin. I'd given away money Mom hid to protect me from exactly this. I opened the fireproof box and counted what remained, slow and meticulous, like counting could reverse the choice. The next morning, I noticed another cassette in the bank paperwork I'd brought home. One I hadn't seen in the vault, unlabeled, tucked into the folder. My stomach tightened. Played it. Mom's voice again, steadier. If you open the box, you need the full truth, she said. Your dad's debts weren't just bad luck. I sat back hard, chair creaking. He got involved in betting, she said. Small at first, then not. A pause, like she swallowed something bitter. I paid off one big hole with a loan in my name. I didn't tell him. Couldn't. My hands went cold. The man I'd defended in my head wasn't matching the man in her voice. Part 5. Mom kept talking. And there's more, she said. This will change how you see me. I took money. My stomach flipped. Tommy, your dad's friend, kept cash in a lockbox in his garage, she said. He bragged about it. One day, when everyone was outside, I took some. Not all. I told myself it was what he owed your dad. Her voice thinned. It was stealing. I'm not proud, but I was protecting you. I sat there with my mouth open, the taste of metal on my tongue. The 40,000 wasn't a gift from careful saving. It was a pile of fear and secrecy and theft. Mom added, your dad can't know. If he learns where it came from, he'll do something stupid. He'll try to prove he's in charge. The tape ended. I stared at the player until the auto stop clicked, my heart thudding in my ears. When Kara got home, I finally told her about the money. I called it an inheritance because the real words felt dirty. Her eyes widened, then softened into planning. We can pay down the car, she said. We can boost the kids' college funds. I nodded, relieved at her practicality, and hated myself for it. I didn't tell her about the theft or the gambling. I told myself I was protecting her. It was cowardice. Part 6. Kara wanted a financial planner. I agreed because structure is my comfort drug. The planner asked about goals. Kara was crisp, prepared, confident. I tried to match her tone while my stomach stayed tight. A week later, a bank letter arrived addressed to both of us. Kara held it up. Why am I on this? My throat tightened. I'd added her to the new account without thinking, because we're married. And now it felt like I'd signed away something Mom meant as a boundary. Paperwork, I said too fast. That night, I opened our banking app and searched transactions, trying to soothe myself with numbers. I found 3 transfers from our savings. $2,500, $1,800, $3,200, all labeled investment. I hadn't made them. I stared until my eyes burned, then closed the laptop like it could bite me. Denial came like a blanket. Maybe it was automatic, maybe I forgot, maybe... The next day, in the car, I asked Kara about it. She didn't look surprised. I started an investment account, she said. A friend's husband runs it. It's managed. How much? I asked, and my voice sounded too controlled. 10,000, she admitted, quickly adding, it's for us. I didn't want you to stress. My stomach dropped, slow. The number felt personal, like a mirror to the 10,000 I'd already given my dad. I told myself it was still fixable. Part 7. Kara showed me a polished website with charts and testimonials. The returns looked too smooth, too steady. She held her phone between us like proof. See? We're up already. I wanted to believe her. My brain started doing math. What if it worked? What if the kids' tuition didn't crush us? What if we could breathe? That craving for relief was louder than my caution, and it embarrassed me. Kara said, we should put your mom's money in. Not all, but enough to matter. I should have said no. I should have remembered Mom's line. Responsible people are easy to manipulate. Instead, shame rose. Shame that my carefulness hadn't made us secure. Shame that Kara seemed braver than me. 25, Kara said. Just to start. My mouth went dry. I told myself I'd do it temporarily, just to grow it and then pull it out clean. I transferred 25,000. Kara hugged me hard, and for a second it felt like we'd solved something together. That night my dad called again. "I heard you got money," he said, and I felt my skin go tight. He didn't ask how I was. He asked how liquid it was. When I said it was tied up, he sounded offended. Like I'd locked a door he'd assumed was open. After we hung up, I lay awake listening to Kara breathe and told myself the worst was behind us. That was the false comfort money gives right before it takes more. Part 8. For 2 months, the dashboard climbed. $26,000, then $28,000, then over $30,000. Kara checked it like a pulse. Each time it rose, she smiled like she'd saved us from drowning. I let myself relax in small ways, buying better groceries, agreeing to a school trip deposit without flinching. Felt like stability, but it was really sedation. Then, on a Friday, Kara came home pale. "The site is down," she said. "Mia isn't answering. Her husband isn't answering." "Websites go down," I said, too calm, like calm could make it true. Kara's voice thinned. The email bounced. We drove to Mia's house. No lights, curtains closed, driveway empty. Kara knocked anyway, her knuckles loud in the cold. Nothing. My stomach felt hollow. At the police station, an officer listened with tired eyes. "You're not the first," he said. "Likely a Ponzi scheme." Kara made a small sound, like she'd swallowed something wrong. In the parking lot, she said, "We can fix it. We can pull from retirement." I felt shame first. Shame that I'd agreed. Shame that I'd wanted this to be real so badly. Then anger, slow and hot, but with nowhere clean to go. That night, I opened the fireproof box and stared at the remaining cash. It looked smaller than it should. Part 9. The next weeks were phone calls and forms. Victims compared notes in a group chat that felt like a support group for people who hated themselves. Everyone sounded tight, controlled, and sick. We were down 35,000. Most of Mom's money was gone. Part of me wanted to confess the whole truth to Kara, about the theft, about Dad's gambling, but I still clung to control like it was dignity. A letter arrived from a law firm, Estate of Thomas H. Sir. It said, regarding misappropriated funds. My hands started to shake. Kara watched my face change and whispered, "What is it?" The letter claimed my mom stole $50,000 from Tommy and the estate wanted repayment. It mentioned recorded evidence. My mouth went dry. Mom's tape had admitted it privately. How did they know? I called the number. A smooth voice confirmed it, then refused to say how they got the recording. When I hung up, my fingers were numb. Kara said, "This is extortion." "It might be," I said, but my gut didn't believe it. I felt trapped between two versions of my mother. The one who packed my lunches, and the one who stole money and recorded herself confessing. That night Kara said, "We can refinance. Pay them something. Make it go away." I heard myself agree. Relief and guilt mixed together so tightly I couldn't separate them. Part 10. Refinancing felt like confessing to a stranger with a calculator. We called it debt consolidation. We didn't say, "We're paying a dead man's heirs for money my mom stole." The loan officer didn't need the story, just the numbers. When the cash-out funds hit, Kara and I wired $30,000 to the law firm to settle. The attorney emailed a tidy confirmation. For 1 week, I slept. I believed we'd bought an ending. Then the detective called. The Ponzi operator, Mia's husband, had been caught at an airport. Accounts were being frozen. "There's a complication," he said, and slid a transaction list across the interview table. 2 weeks before the collapse, there was an $8,000 withdrawal from our investment account to a bank account in my father's name. My vision tunneled. Kara's face went blank. "That's not," she started. The detective asked, "Did you authorize this?" I heard my mother's warning again, sharper now. "He will take it." I drove home with my jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Anger finally arrived. Not clean and heroic, messy, humiliating, fueled by the knowledge that I'd ignored every sign because I wanted to be above family ugliness. At home, Kara whispered, "How could he do that?" I didn't answer because the worst question was forming. How could we have let him get close enough? Part 11. I went to my dad's house that night. Half his pictures were already off the walls. Boxes lined the hallway like he was shedding a skin. He opened the door and tried to smile. "Did you get 8,000 from Kara's investment?" I asked. My voice surprised me. Low, controlled, shaking at the edges. Dad's expression flickered. "I didn't steal," he said. I asked. "You didn't ask me," I said. He looked away. "Kara came to me," he said. "She said you were sitting on money. She said you were controlling. She wanted to help me." My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. I gripped the back of a chair. "She what?" Dad rubbed his face. "She knew that guy through Mia," he said. "She said she could pull a return for me. I needed it." In that moment, shame turned into something hotter. Not just at Kara or Dad, but at myself because I'd hidden money, too. I'd started this pattern. We were all negotiating love with cash and calling it care. "Why?" I asked Dad, and my voice cracked. He snapped. "Because you act like your mom's money is sacred." Then, with a bitterness that made my skin crawl, "She stole it anyway." "How do you know?" I whispered. He laughed once. "Tommy told me years ago," he said. "He said he let her. Said he felt sorry for her. I told the estate about it after your investment blew up. Figured maybe I could pressure you." The room felt cold. Dad wasn't a cartoon villain. He was worse, ordinary, self-justifying, convinced he deserved whatever he could reach. Part 12. I drove home with my hands trembling on the wheel. Kara was at the kitchen table, eyes red like she'd been crying without sound. She looked up and knew. "Your dad told you," she said. "You went to him," I said. Not a question. Kara's shoulders lifted in a small, defensive shrug. "You were hiding money," she said. "You didn't trust me." I felt stupid in my own house. I felt anger surge, then stall under guilt. Because she wasn't wrong. I'd hidden the origin, the cash, my fear. I'd acted like control was responsibility. Kara swallowed. "I thought if I could make it grow, you'd relax," she said. "I thought I could fix us with numbers." I wanted to shout. I didn't. The kids were upstairs. Real life doesn't give you clean scenes. It gives you restraint that feels like choking. "I wired 30,000 to settle my mom's theft," I said quietly. "We refinanced our house, and you were giving my dad money behind my back." Kara's face crumpled. "I didn't think it would end like this." I finished. My voice went flat. "It always ends like this when everyone thinks they're the exception." We sat there in silence until the refrigerator clicked on. My anger was real, but it didn't feel righteous. It felt contaminated because relief flickered too. Relief that the secret was out. Relief that I didn't have to pretend I was the steady one anymore. Part 13. The police interviewed Dad. He played confused. A man caught in a mess he barely understood. They didn't arrest him. They treated him like a small fish. That made me angrier than handcuffs would have. The law firm stopped answering emails after the settlement. Our attorney said we'd probably been leveraged into paying more than we needed to. That stung like a slap because it was my specialty. Avoiding predatory terms, and I'd still signed. The Ponzi recovery check arrived months later. $1,942. A thin apology in ink. Kara and I deposited it without speaking. Bills became our language. We clipped coupons again. We canceled streaming. The kids noticed the tension in the way animals do, quietly, from the corners of rooms. My son started staying late at practice. My daughter asked if the house was okay. Kara suggested separation in a careful tone, like she was proposing a budget adjustment. I felt my chest tighten, then loosen. Relief again, shameful and real. Relief at the idea of not monitoring her choices, not watching the bank app like it was a heart monitor. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said. She nodded once, eyes wet. "I know," she whispered. I hated that she sounded like my mom did on the tape. Part 14. Dad moved out of town without telling me. A neighbor texted a picture of a moving truck. On my porch later, he left a box of old photos and a forwarding address written on a sticky note, like that counted as closure. In the box was a photo of my mom holding me, her hair messy, her smile wide. On the back she'd written, "Worth it." I stared at those words until my eyes blurred. Worth it stealing? Hiding? Protecting me by making me the keeper of her secrets? I didn't know. I still don't. That night I opened the fireproof box and took out the tapes. I held them in my hands and felt my palms sweat. I thought about destroying them, erasing the evidence, reclaiming some control. Instead I put them back. Not out of virtue, out of attachment. My mom's voice was the last clean thing I had of her. Even if the story it carried was dirty. Kara slept in the guest room by then. The hallway felt longer at night. I lay awake hearing the house settle and realized money hadn't just caused conflict. It had changed what we believed love was allowed to cost. I'd always assumed responsibility meant protecting people from hardship. Now it seemed responsibility was also the ability to look at a ruined ledger and admit you helped ruin it. Part 15. It's been 8 months since the website went dark. We're still in the same house, but the refinance payment sits on us like a weight. Kara and I co-parent politely. We talk about groceries, schedules, the kids' grades. We don't touch much. We don't plan far ahead. Dad sends occasional texts, photos of sunsets. "Hope you're well." I don't reply. The urge to respond feels like the old urge to pay him to buy peace. I'm trying to starve that instinct. Sometimes, late at night, I take out one cassette and turn it over in my hands. The plastic is scuffed. The label is yellowing. If I press it to my ear and shake it lightly, I can hear the reels shift with a soft, dry sound. That sound sticks with me more than the words now. It's the sound of something recorded to be hidden, something meant to control the future. I used to think the worst part of my mom's death was losing her. Now I think it's that she left me a secret shaped like money, and I used it the way everyone did, like leverage, like comfort, like proof. There's no neat ending. Just a quiet house, a spouse in another room, a father somewhere else, and a small plastic tape that still turns in my mind, over and over, like it's waiting for me to admit that what I miss isn't peace. It's the lie that I ever had it.